Hi guys, welcome back to Spelling and Word Study. My name is Mrs. Rhoades and I'm here to get you started on Unit 22, the OU and OW diphthongs. Please take a second to gather your materials. You will need your orange book open to page 137. You will also need some colorful pens, markers, or crayons. Remember, whatever I mark on my board, you should be marking on your page. Please save room for a key as well. If at any point I'm moving too fast, please pause the video and catch up. All right, so we are taking a break from short vowels and long vowels, and now we're talking about some advanced vowel sounds. Last week we talked about the schwa, that sound that shows up in an unstressed syllable and can also show up in one-syllable words like push or bulge or pulse. This week we're moving on to diphthongs. Now, two very common diphthongs are OU and OW. They both make the same ow sound. The reason they're called diphthongs is because to make that ow sound, notice in your mouth you're starting with one sound, kind of like a short O, ah, and then it's sliding into a second sound, which kind of sounds like a long U, ow, okay? So this week we're going to listen for that ow sound in each of our words, and we're going to use our eyes to notice the OU or the OW, making that ow sound in each word. Let's start by reading our list. Please repeat after me. Allow, amount, blouse, bounce, chowder, devour, discount, drowsy, hourly, house, mouse, pounce, scrounge, shower, spouse. Did you hear that ow diphthong in each word? Great. So the next thing I want to do is I want to choose a color, and we're going to break our two-syllable words into parts. So starting with allow, we're going to slice that between the double L's. Amount, we're going to slice it after the A. Blouse and bounce are one-syllable words, so we'll leave those alone. Chowder after the W. Devour after the E. Discount after the S. Drowsy after the W. Hourly after the R. House, mouse, pounce, and scrounge are all one-syllable words. Shower after the W, and then spouse is one syllable. So in our key, that purple vertical line represents our syllable breaks. Okay, there are lots of reasons why we break words into syllables. It helps us pronounce the words easier, it helps us spell the words easier, and it helps us notice patterns. So what I want you to notice today is the location of that ow pattern. Now you know that OW has two sounds. Sometimes it makes a long O sound in words like snow and bow and grow. But today, whenever we see OW, it will be making the ow sound. So here it is at the end of allow, chowder, drowsy, and shower. Over here, pink box equals OW diphthong. Now, where does that OW show up? We see it at the end of a syllable, chow, drow, show, and at the end of a word, allow. Okay? OW can also show up at the beginning of a word, like owl, but not very often. I think that might be the only example. And it can show up in the middle of a syllable in a word like town or howl. So OW can show up anywhere, but it usually shows up at the end of a word or the end of a syllable. So file that away, okay? All right, let's choose another color. And this time we're looking for OU. Now, OU is another diphthong. It also can say ow. Here we see it tucked in the middle of amount, blouse, bounce, devour, discount, hourly, house, mouse, pounce, scrounge, and spouse. Green box equals OU diphthong. Okay, let's see where the OU hangs out. We said that OW rarely hangs out at the beginning, sometimes hangs out in the middle, usually hangs out at the end of a syllable, end of a word, or end of a syllable. Well, let's look at discount. Middle, middle, middle. In each of our words this week, that OU is tucked in the middle. Now, it can show up at the beginning. You know this word, out or hour. So it can show up at the beginning, but never, ever, ever at the end of a word or the end of a syllable. So if you're trying to put that ow sound at the end of a word or syllable, and you don't know which diphthong to use OW, okay? If you're trying to stretch out a word and you hear that ow sound in the middle of a syllable, it's probably going to be OU, okay? Unless it's a word that rhymes with town, or, you know, town and clown and down, or howl, okay? All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is that silent E. Notice several words this week contain silent E, but none of our words have a long vowel. So what is that silent E doing if it's not jumping over the consonant to make the vowel say its name? Well, think back to some other jobs that silent E has. For instance, in the word bounce, that silent E softens the C, gives it a S sound. We know that's a job of silent E. We know that silent E can also soften a G and give it a J sound in a word like scrounge. Okay, so that explains why we have silent E here and here. But then we have some other words like blouse and house and mouse and spouse. Pounce has that soft C, right? Blouse, house, mouse, spouse. What is it doing in all those words? It's not making a long vowel. It's not softening a C. It's not softening a G. But you notice it's following S in each of these words. Now, in the English language, if a word ends with the S sound, it is usually a plural, right? And if it ends with the letter S, it's almost always a plural. So perhaps somebody along the way started putting an E at the end of these words to prevent plural confusion, to let people know this is just one blouse, one house, and one mouse, okay? So over here, blue circle equals silent E. And this week, the silent E might be softening the G, softening the C, or it might be preventing plural confusion. Another job of silent E that we don't see this week is we don't see any words that end with the V or the Z sound. We know that silent E hangs out at the end of those words to babysit the V or the Z, but that's not the case today. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to go through the list and figure out what the words mean and talk about their part of speech. Okay, so the first thing I want to look for are verbs. Verbs are action words, right? So for instance, the word allow, if your parents allow you to sleep over at your friend's house, that means they let you. They let you do it. They give you permission. So that is a verb. You can't amount and you can't blouse, but you can bounce. You can bounce on a trampoline. You can bounce a ball in your hand. So that is a verb. You can't chowder, but you can devour. If you devour something, you eat it eagerly. So I devour pizza. I pick at fish. I devour cookies. I just pick at donuts, right? So picking at something or nibbling something is the opposite of devouring it. We devour food because we're really hungry or the food really tastes good. Okay, we can't discount, we can't drowsy, we can't hourly house or mouse, but we can pounce. If you think about a cat pouncing on a mouse, it's jumping on it, right? When people find out that there's a sale at their favorite store, they pounce on it. They can't wait to jump in and get that great deal. Scrounge is also a verb. To scrounge is to dig around. So recently I was buying some plants from a farm stand and they didn't accept credit card and I didn't have enough money in my wallet, so I was scrounging around my car. I was looking under the seats, I was looking in the glove box, I was looking in the middle compartment, trying to find enough quarters to pay for the plant that I needed. Okay, sometimes we scrounge around in the bottom of our purse. Sometimes we scrounge around in the refrigerator. It just means we're digging around searching for something. You can definitely shower, right? You go in and you clean your body, but you can't spouse. So all of these words are verbs. Those are our action words. All right, now let's look for some nouns. Nouns are people, places, things. An amount, the total, right? The number that you pay. So you go to the grocery store, the cashier rings up all your stuff, and then she gives you the amount. She says, okay, that'll cost $83.10. So the amount is the total money that you're going to spend, but it doesn't have to be money. It could be like, you know, if you're doing a food drive and you're trying to collect, you know, a lot of food for hungry people, you might have a goal to collect an amount of like 500 food items. So the amount is just the total number. So instead of saying total money, why don't I just say the total number? Okay. A blouse is a button-down shirt. It's usually a dressy shirt that a woman would wear. Chowder is a thick soup. There's clam chowder, there's corn chowder. So it's a nice food. A discount is like a deal. Because you get money off. So maybe your favorite store usually sells pairs of pants for $40, but because of the long weekend, they have a discount and they're going to give you 20% off, or they're going to give you a coupon for $10 off. The amount of money that you take off is the discount. Okay. A house, place we live, that's a noun. A mouse is a little animal, that's a noun. A shower, yes, it's a verb. You can shower, but you also take a shower. A shower can also be a type of party, like a baby shower or a wedding shower. It's a party that people throw to help the mother-to-be or the bride-to-be get ready for her next adventure. And then a spouse is also a noun. A spouse is a husband or a wife. Okay? So the person you are married to is your spouse. It can be a man or a woman, a husband or a wife. Okay, so over here, N equals noun. All right, we have one part of speech left today, and that is adjective. Those are our describing words. So for instance, drowsy is an adjective. If something makes you drowsy, it makes you sleepy, right? So certain medicines will make you drowsy, cough medicines. For some people, riding in the car makes you drowsy. Sitting on the couch and watching a movie might make you drowsy. It just makes your eyes heavy and sleepy and that sort of thing. Hourly is an adjective, right? People who have jobs, some people get paid a salary, so they get a certain amount of money for the whole year. So their boss says, okay, I'll hire you and I'll pay you $50,000 for the whole year. And they just divide that up. Other jobs are paid hourly. So if you work at a grocery store, you work at a restaurant, your boss will say, okay, I'll pay you $15 an hour. That is your hourly rate. So that just means per hour. I think that's it. I don't see any other adjectives here. So ADJ equals adjective. And I think we discussed the meanings of all of our words. So the last thing I want to do very quickly is I want you to look at page 140. Because on 140 we have a new prefix for you, and it is under, okay? You can put under in front of a word like ground, right? There's an underground tunnel, okay? It literally means under the ground, right? If something's underwater, it's under the surface of the water. If your cat is always underfoot, that means you're always about to step on him because it always seems like he's under your foot. So under can mean below, okay? Under can also mean not enough. So if a person thinks they are underpaid, that means they think they don't get enough money. If a child is underweight, that means the doctor's concerned that the child doesn't weigh enough. Their weight is not as high as it should be. So when you get to this page, you're going to combine the prefix under with each of these words to make new words. Underfed, underpaid, undercover, underground, underpass. Once you fill this out, you have your word bank. You're going to then use these words to complete the sentences on the bottom. Okay? You should have no trouble with that. All right, good luck, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.